right, moving on. In the subject of statistics that prove what we already know. A recent Nielsen study finds that most hardcore gamers, traditional gamers, console gamers play mobile games. 66 to the tune of 66%. Of people who identify as hardcore gamers also play mobile games. However, they don't spend a dime on mobile games. 83% of those don't spend any money.
Oh, but that actually means that 17% do spend, which is higher than the average.
It's just sort of it's like the whole whale concept, right?
A
small percentage of your audience is.
But that's a bigger small percentage.
But the way that mobile games work is 95 to 97% of people never spend anything, and that 5% of players that are willing to transact subsidize everybody else. I mean, this isn't surprising at all. And we see this in the IGN comments. When I used to run the mobile channel at IGN, the comments would always be, F mobile games, these are crap. Except for these three that I play.
Exactly.
Sure, I play Plants vs. Zombies, and when I'm on the bus, sometimes I'll play Angry Birds, and I really like this war game that I play with my friends, and I'll check out these games, but besides those, screw mobile.
I wonder how many of these guys are going out and buying the ones that just let you buy the game for one price, one time.
Apple's really leaned into that.
This is why
I love that, by the way.
I want to bring this up. If most gamers are playing mobile games, but they're not spending money on them, that means they're not playing the best mobile games, because the best mobile games just cost a fixed upfront price, like Lara Croft Go, Monument Valley,
FTL.
That's really interesting because these self-proclaimed hardcore gamers,
but they're just playing the crappiest free-to-play stuff.
Crap garbage. One of my things that and I've noticed this 100 times, and I feel like I've talked about this before, but when I'm getting on a flight and I walk past first class, and there's somebody on the newest iPad, and they're playing a mobile game that has ads on it because they didn't pay the $1 to get rid of them. I'm like, reevaluate your life. Get it together. You're sitting in a sky chair that costs thousands of dollars on a $1,000 tablet that's I can't even think about affording it right now. And you're like, I'm not going to spend $1 to get rid of ads in this game. It's so ridiculous. Ridiculous.
That's my mom, except for flying in first class.
But
she plays this game. I guess I got name drop. She plays Fairway Solitaire, and I swear to God, she's played that game for hundreds of hours. She plays it every day. And there's a free version that's kind of gimped and crappy, or the full game is I think $3. And this is a couple years ago, so I don't know if they've changed their business model since then. And I'm like, Mom, you play this game literally every evening. Spend the $3 and you'll get. She's like, no, I don't mind. I just do the same courses over and over.
It's
I'm like, you're getting it's $3 on your $600
It's so bizarre to me.
iPad.
We
like a pack of gum.
I mean, as gamers, we are so weird, and we have selective reasoning when it comes to picking and choosing where we spend our money. I went out for lunch in San Francisco today. I got a sandwich and a peach tea that Batman vs Superman has ruined for me because it looked like piss. And it was $12.75, and that's kind of a steal in downtown San Francisco.
Absolutely.
But then I get back to my desk and I read this some tweet from somebody who spent $17 in Mitomo today to try to get the cat costume, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. And I'm gonna go poop out my sandwich and my grandma's piss tea, and I'm not even gonna think about it. But I looked at that situation and I'm like, why did you spend so much money in that game when you could have just waited around and maybe bought a costume with a couple of coins or whatever. But then I'll go out and buy a $10 beer or something like that, or I bought a Star Wars toy for $25. It just sits on my desk and falls over, and I turn it. Where does this stop?
The part that bugs me is the bing ooh bing ooh. Sometimes it reminds me. I used to go by pachinko parlors in Japan and watch people just plop the coins in and pop the coins in, or go to a casino, see the same thing.
Fan.
Those are the scariest places in the universe, by the way.
Oh, some of them are rad.
Have you been in a pachinko bar?
I've actually never been inside one.
I
very
literally
loud, very bright.
I literally got sick from what I walked into one. It was 3 stories. It was screaming loud. It sounded like Transformers. And everyone's chain smoking, and everyone's drinking, and everyone's screaming, and there's no air, and it's just and I walked out and I'm like, I'm sick. I have a cold. I have a flu.
go to Echo Pachin. You go in there, they won't let you smoke inside.
Okay.
It's completely different.
Good.
Yeah, it's but no, I really do think that there's a. I get nervous about the closeness to gambling, and I don't think gambling is inherently unethical in any way. But I do think that there's a certain part of the population that's susceptible to being victimized, and I do worry that some of these flashing lights and cha-ching sounds on apps where you can pour more and more money in that I know are aimed at a small fraction of the population kind of resemble
No, I mean you don't even need to you don't need to hedge. If you look at the top grossing games, they're all slot machine apps.
Yeah.
Like there's no kind of about it. Like you can buy, they'll give you 10,000 free coins a day to gamble with, but if you want more, you can spend $1, and then those shoot up to, and those games make $100,000 a day for giving out nothing.
I remember growing up and going to arcades at birthday parties and stuff like that. As an '80s kid, like that was a big part of video game culture because you got to play stuff that looked better than the stuff you had at home.
Yeah.
And there were like Ninja Turtles, and there was X-Men and Simpsons. They're all fun multiplayer game. And basically, the better you were and the more quarters you put in, the closer you got to getting an ending.
Yeah.
And then right next to it were these games that were like those big towers of just tokens.
Yeah.
And you would put a token in, and it would just push a shelf into more tokens.
Yeah.
It would push another shelf, and eventually, like a couple tokens would fall down, and then you'd get some tickets, and it was like, this feels like a racket.
Yeah.
But people paid. And that's your...
Yeah, but it depends on this claw machines. I mean, it depends on what your tolerance level is for this sort of thing. Mobile games have definitely... This has been lurking beneath the surface. It's really come to the forefront in 2015, 2016. The sort of gacha games where you spend $1 and then you're going to get a character. You're going to get a new character for your team or squad, but you have a 2% chance of getting the ultra rare character. A 5% chance of getting a rare character. Otherwise, you're getting a common character. And okay, you save up your money, they drip you a little bit of money, so once a month you can maybe try to get one without spending any cash. And that's literally gambling, which is illegal on the App Store because it crosses state lines. And they're very much sort of skirting beneath the law. I think it's not illegal because the stuff doesn't have any monetary value. You can't turn them into cash or anything like that.
Right.
But a reckoning is coming, and it's coming in Japan too, where they have special events where, hey, you normally have a 3% chance of getting an ultra rare character, but for these 2 days we're going to up it to 6% or 10%. And then people got together and ran the numbers, or a guy bought $1,000 worth of stuff, and it turned out they were lying. They hadn't...
They hadn't increased your chances?
No, well, they hadn't increased them to the degree that they said they did.
Ooh.
And so now, because of that, this industry might be a little bit more regulated in Japan than it has been. Because you're really at the mercy of... so they doubled the odds, and you try 10 times, and you don't get anybody, and you're like, did I just have bad luck?
Yeah.
You're just really at their mercy that they're telling you the truth.
They ultimately have a link to your credit card. It's not tokens in a machine. It's a lot of money. It's your your net resources are available, and if you're willing to make the wrong decision at the wrong time, you could spend an awful lot of money in a very short period, and there's no accountability.
When you read those stories about somebody's kid who spent $3,000 on Smurf berries, that's never happened in an arcade. It's impossible.
Yeah.
No one's ever brought in their dad's credit card and swiped it and gotten $3,000 worth of tokens and walked out with this Santa Claus sack of fake coins.
Although I love the idea that
would be great. And started dumping him into a
Stack has a big dollar.
Yeah.